Hey guys, ¿qué lo que mi gente? Today I'm going to show you how to travel Mexico for 1 week for a budget of $800 or $1,700. Depending on how much you're willing to spend and do. I just came back from spending a week in Mexico and I went for the $1,700 budget route, but I realized that you could do it for so much cheaper, and I did a lot of research, and through my whole experience being there, I can tell you exactly how to do it for $800 if you want to go for a smaller budget. The first thing you're going to want to look for is flight tickets. You're going to want to look for them ahead of time. The sooner the better. I made the mistake of waiting too long. The price that I ended up buying them for, that was $785 for the round trip. But the average price for flight tickets to Mexico from the United States is actually $350. Of course, that's gonna depend on which state you're leaving from. For example, from LA, you can get them for as little as $150 the round trip. So it all depends on where you're located, how soon before you're buying your tickets. So try to do it ahead of time. And pro tip, because prices will vary, look for your flight tickets on a private window. Then the next thing that you should decide on is what places to visit. I do have a video on Mexico tips that goes into more detail on how to choose the places that you're going to visit. But for the purposes of this video, once you decide which places you want to visit, then you're gonna choose your accommodations. I personally trust Airbnb. Usually that's what I go for. I'm not sponsored, by the way. I usually choose them for a number of reasons. That is basically up to you how you want to do it. If you want to do hotels, if you want to do something like Airbnb or something like even couch surfers. The total that I spent on Airbnb accommodations was of $247. But like I said, you could always search other sites, or you could always get cheaper accommodations than I did through also Airbnb, and I'm pretty sure you can make it for $150. I saw really cheap places on Airbnb. And like I said, you could even do couch surfing. Now they do charge a fee to use the app or the the website, but it's still free to sleep at other people's houses and that. If you feel comfortable doing that, go ahead, you go girl boss, all that, if you want to get free accommodations basically. Now that you have your flights, you have your accommodations, the next thing to plan is your transportation costs. So once you've decided if you're staying in one place, like one state or one city, you can research on the public transportation of that particular place. I know that the metro is very affordable, 5 pesos, which is 20 cents American, and taxis are affordable as well. If you're going to different states or different cities, the interstate buses are also pretty affordable and very comfortable. They have high-end, which is luxury buses, and they have something more in the middle, and then the cheapest ones. I do recommend that you book ahead of time online. If you have problems with your credit card, they also accept PayPal, which is what I had to end up doing. But I do recommend that you do it ahead of time, even though you could always go last minute and do it, but you might get cheaper prices. I know that I got a discount for doing it ahead of time and online. You get I don't remember the amount that you get discounted, but still not bad. I took 3 interstate buses for a total of $71. I took what was considered the luxury lines, which was ETN and Primera Plus. And I did it because it was still affordable and I just wanted to try it. I wanted to be comfortable, I wanted to see how it was, and it was totally worth it. Even if you don't go the cheapest route, if you do something that's not the cheapest but probably not the best, you could do it for $40. You really could, and still be in pretty comfortable buses. Oh, they also have insurance. I did add insurance to all of my trips, but that was only an additional $1. It was that cheap, and I read the policy because I'm that nerd. That's why I have this channel, right? I do the research for you. I read the whole policy and it's pretty good. It was pretty good. I was so surprised. For $1, everything that it covered is amazing. So I would say get it. It's just an additional $1. Next, I'm gonna break down the cost of Ubers and taxis, and in the case that you take public transportation. I did not take the metro, but I know the prices. So my total, not including tips, which is optional, was $130, but you could do it for $70. So let me explain. So I also walked to many places, but from the bus stations to Airbnbs and back, because I have luggage, like you know, from and back to the airport, again, luggage. So like there are instances in which like even if you take public transportation most of the time, you're gonna have to take Ubers or taxis sometimes, like in case of like, you know, carrying luggage. You could do it for $70. That's gonna depend on where you go, where you stay. Like if you stay in just one city, one place, you might spend even less than $70. Again, I have a video on tips on how to travel Mexico, which is gonna be like outside of the just budgeting. So you might want to check that to learn more tips on transportation. Now let's break down the cost of food. Food is incredibly affordable in Mexico, and that is why I decided to do like some fine dining or high-end restaurants. But you know, it's totally not necessary to have an amazing culinary experience in Mexico, because food is just amazing there. Like a few of my favorite meals were not at those high-end restaurants. So like it's totally not necessary. It's something that I personally decided to do. But taking that into account that I did go to like fine dining and high-end restaurants, I spent a total of $276. And if you're going for the $800 budget, you could spend $20 per day on food for a total of $140. And those $20 will include like snacks and water, whatever else. You could totally for $20 eat every single day, eat well. And finally, let's go over all of the costs of activities. And there is so much you could do for free in Mexico. But you know, again, check my video on the tips on Mexico to learn more about that. On activities, I spent a total of $195. And that is because I did choose certain tours. I was very specific, very discerning about which tours to do, because again, it's not even necessary for so many things. Like a lot of things I just did on my own, and I was perfectly happy. I didn't feel like I needed any additional like person, you know, helping me out. And also a lot of the tours that I did, they included food. Like they included the meal, they included water as well, transportation, so pretty affordable. But if you decide not to do any tours and just like kind of like go to museums and other things, like do these activities by yourself, you could spend $50, probably even less, like depending on what you do and where you stay and all that. There are also like I said, so many things you could do for free, so many things. So just to give you a number, I would say $50 in case you go to museums, in case you get one tour, you know, but you could do it for $0. So that gives us our total of either $800 or $1,700 for a week in Mexico. These are like the categories that I consider most important for travel. Like if you want to spend on trinkets, like magnets or like clothes, whatever you decide to spend on, that kind of thing, you totally don't have to do that, or you could spend very little. That's optional. So I hope my tips on how to budget were useful. I really do this with so much love. Like I promise you, like I enjoy this so much. Like I actually did like a whole list of like every single expenditure. Like I literally every cent that I spent, I wrote it down just to have like a realistic idea of like how much I spent, like for it to be as accurate as possible. And I also like researched, like I said, like, you know, how much was the metro, how much was like public transportation, that kind of stuff, like buses and all that, because I wanted to give you like an accurate budget, because I knew some people would want to do it for even less, even though I think, you know, $1,700 sounds cheap, but it could be like more than a lot of people are willing to spend. So I wanted to do also like a cheaper version, because like I always said, I really want everyone to be able to travel. I think it should be accessible to everyone, no matter like how much money you have or don't have. I really hope it helps a lot of people. As always, please be respectful when you visit other places. Be respectful of the culture. I felt so welcome, so happy. It's one of my favorite trips that I've ever done. So I really recommend it. There's so much culture, so much variety in the food and the experiences that you can have, like the nature, everything about it. Okay, I'm just, at this point, I'm just like rambling. But yeah, like I said, I really hope that this helped you. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments so that I can, like, I don't know, make better videos in the future when it comes to budget, like if there's something that I maybe like you think it's important that I missed. Alright guys, so thank you so much for watching. If you're still here, leave thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't so you can receive more content like this, and see you on the next time. Why did I say on the next time? See you next time. See you next time. See you next time.